Peace. On with the show. Day number 8. 8 days down in the month of June. Year is 2013. And the time is 1:17 p.m. on the West Coast Pacific. Today is Saturday. Saturday, what really matters day. And I figured since we all learned that people from the government or whatever you want to call it tend to be listening in on people's conversations. I actually think that can be a good thing because that's what it's made for. It's just one big discussion. So let's open up the phones, let's open up the lines and talk about it. Let's have a intelligent discussion about things that take place in society. We can come to conclusions, find some kind of agreeing points, and see what we can come up with. But that's a good thing, though. Let's just talk about what's important, what really matters. So, in my experience, men and women, well, that matters because that's where life comes from. And in this particular case, for those of you who are interested, we're talking about girls who like girls. So, what is there to say? Let me think about it for a second. Well, I guess the facts will show. We want to make sure we're not thirsty before all things. But at the same time, that's not really something that I'm an expert in. I'm not uh, a woman. I'm not a girl who likes girls. I'm a guy that likes girls, and I think it's just kind of the way that society is set up and shaped. We've all, well, not all of us, but urban legend says that most females have a little bit of that in them somewhere, as to what extent it actually comes out. But like I said, we're having an intelligent discussion and getting things out in the open onto the table for discussion and see if we can make it worth our while. So I put a couple pictures up on the post on pimphop.com, and this is a place where we can talk about that kind of stuff. It's not really displeasing to my sight to see women in pictures with each other, kind of palsy wowsy. It ain't the biggest turn on. Sometimes I just like to see women by themselves. In fact, that's what I prefer the most. But it's not something that's painful. If you put two guys up, I'm not gonna really appreciate having that in my sight. Guys being palsy wowsy, but some women, well, but most importantly, even working in this job capacity and during the times where we've had the benefit and privilege of going out and taking some pictures of real life activities, it just seems to be a normal kind of thing. I mean, I'm looking at it on the social media, and girls have pictures with girls. Girls like girls. Girls have friends. Where the relationship goes and what it really means, whether it's something uh, beyond platonic, it's hard to say. But I put up a picture of the schoolgirls because I think on some level there is a socialization that makes certain things like that happen. But what I am an expert in is in cause and effect. And I know ultimately, as much as girls like girls, um, unless it's going to be a future of pets as children, like sometimes the women put up pictures on the internet of their babies, and then you're looking for some humans and you see some dogs. There might be a match between those two things. I mean, like I said, we're opening up the floor for discussion. I'm talking and I'm listening. I want to hear from some of you as experts, or maybe I'll just, I don't know, attract something out in the world that will give me the answer. But I do see it more and more, and it's kind of a fashion trend. Sometimes I see the girls or women go as far as holding each other's hands, walking hand in hand. You might could tell, you might could not. Maybe they're just putting on a show. Ultimately, I think that's what it is, and there's a picture of the showgirls up as well. I think exhibitionists, a lot of girls going to put on a show, and for the most part, I mean, I guess it's the best of both worlds. You can get a guy like myself, or maybe some other guys, as women that are listening to this, get some other guys that might not necessarily mind looking at that. But then you got the women that don't mind looking at that either, so that covers both bases, and there's not so much of a sociological stigma attached to seeing girls together, palsy wowsy, and that does tend to be the majority of the conversation I see on the social media. Girl talk, girls talking back and forth, complimenting each other on their looks, and once again, I think that's just pointing back to that old urban legend that most women have a little bit of that in them. You hear some of those abstract Bible stories about, what is it, Lot and his daughters, and I mean, I've heard all kind of stuff. I've seen quite a few things too, Pete True Hollywood story. But at the end of the day, I just want to open up the discussion, make social media how I see it to be, and I see it as a discussion, mutual respect, learning from each other, growing, and coming to a common consensus. So I'll take that upon myself. I have some time on my hands, and I want to go ahead and put that subject out on the table for those who might want to look into it. And we do know that pimphop.com and some of the stuff that I talk about is kind of like porno for women, in the sense that it's something that you know dang well you tune into, and something that you like to listen to and look at, but don't necessarily want everybody to know. So you have the anonymous factor, anonymity. He can't know that I'm listening, but I'm listening. I know you're listening, and that's why I put this out there for you in anticipation of you listening. But we have to put it out there first just to get it going, and then we can see how it takes effect. So just for you, in private or in public, just curious to know what your thoughts are. You know what my thoughts are. But it's a fascinating subject. Girls who like girls, we're seeing it more and more often. But once again, we have cause and effect. Men, women, and children is generally the order that takes place as far as life. I got a mom, I got a dad. Chances are you do too. But as far as girls liking girls, maybe on some extra stuff, women with pets as babies, that's about as far as it can go. So let's open up the discussion once again. Just put it out there for something interesting to say. I know people are on the internet looking, damn, there's just nothing really interesting. It's the same old thing. Well, let's open up a discussion about the same old thing and see what we're seeing, because it might be a whole different thing than what we think it is. But regardless, we can consider it another victory and keep us at peace. Peace is in knowing. Knowledge is power. So, peace.